walking back to the hotel, and I just have to rant about Call real quick. Call to the Grave, the new. I was saying card for Levia. I'd never explicitly said Levia card for those people who were like, "Where's the Levia card?" Anyway, have to just talk about this card because I've explained it maybe at this point like 30 times in person at the world premiere. So I wanted to just make a quick video. I don't know if this shows up as like a YouTube short or whatever it would be. But Call to the Grave is literally the fix for Levia that I've been asking for since day zero. Since day zero of playing that hero. Like the main issue she had, and this is like way before she was even remotely playable, was the fact that she was contingent on the opponent letting her make decisions around her graveyard, right? Back in the day, you really could just lose to having one card in your graveyard because you've been forced on some aggressive banish, and then your opponent just doesn't attack into you, and then you look at your hand and you realize, I can't play any of these cards. I cannot turn off Blood Debt, and you die, and you lose. From day zero, that was a problem. And there wasn't a single card in the game. There wasn't a single card in the game that you could instant fill your graveyard with two cards. Not a single one. Not a single one. Oh, sweet. Dude, DM Armada and MinMax Games are in the chat. Man, we got some bangers here. Let me know. I don't know if you can actually hear me, if it's like coming through this or the sound. But we're, like, I'm trying to get to bed is the idea. I have like a 20-minute walk back to the hotel. So we're just filling time. We're filling time. Anyway, that was like a day zero issue with Levia that has never been fixed. You've never been able to spend one card to fill the graveyard with two cards. Literally never. Even to now. Fast forward 3 years from Levia's release. Fast forward 3 years. We've never had that card. Like one of the best things you could do as recently as heavy hitters is like you can add Agile Windup to the deck. You can add like Smashback Ailhorn. These cards that would help you instantly fill the graveyard because it was a problem even 3 years after release, right? And now we have Call to the Grave, which like at its floor is just doing that. At its floor, it's just doing this one thing Levi has never been able to do. If that's all the card did, if it was a blue zero cost like go again action, that's already like pushing my expectations for this kind of card. And if it just ended up putting two cards in your graveyard from anywhere, that would be nuts. Instead, it's letting you put a card from your deck, and there's no restriction on that. It's not action card, it's not attack specifically or whatever. It's a card from your deck. So you could get wild with this. We're talking like Dimensional Gateway or like Tome of Torment, some of these unplayables, right? Some of these unplayables that if you put them in your list, you are asking to lose because if you draw them, it's game over. You could try to run that stuff with Shadow Blast Vet, but like I was never doing that, whatever. Just trying to explain. You can send anything from your deck. You could send the bad cards like that from your deck and have fun with it, or you could send the good cards, the good recursion pieces. Howl from Beyond, Ghostly Visit. You see that card early, and you dump a Howl from Beyond into the graveyard instantly. Holy, like, you gain an intellect basically. You gain an intellect, and you trim one of the worst cards you can possibly draw out of your deck, and you're putting two cards in your graveyard. Like what? That's so crazy. That's so crazy. So we've talked about why +2 to the graveyard is good. We've talked about pulling recursion being good. However, you can also pull some really funny interactions with Beast Within and Back Alley Breakline, right? So the Beast Within one is pretty obvious, and I think even like non-Levi players saw that and thought like that's why I was saying it was a good Levi card. No goddamn way, dude. That's like, and the other thing about the Beast Within thing is you can use that line in multiple ways because by pulling Beast Within with Call to the Grave, you are guaranteed to obviously replace that card with a 6, right? Like you are replacing the Call to the Grave with a 6, and you're turning off Blood Debt, right? You're turning off Blood Debt, and you're filling your graveyard. Remember, never forget that you're filling your graveyard 2 cards, right? But what does it mean to replace Call to the Grave with a 6? You can either be in a state where your only card in hand is a Call to Grave, and you can play the Call to Grave, and you guaranteed turn off Blood Debt, right? You guaranteed turn off Blood Debt, and draw this 6, and unless it's like a Wrecker romp, you will arsenal that 6, and you effectively turned off Blood Debt for 0. For 0. You spent no cards to do that, right? That's one aspect of like why the Beast Within line is good. The other thing is one of the reasons Levia runs 0-cost blue go-agains, right? Like Barraging Beatdown or like Smashback Alehorn. The reason that was such an important part of Levia list is because whenever you drew into Blood Rush hands, which are still like very core to Levia being a good deck, whenever you drew those Blood Rush hands, you needed to be able to play them. Like you needed to have, like potentially have momentum, have tempo, draw into this Blood Rush hand, and then play that Blood Rush hand, no matter what. But you don't have nothing but blue 6s, right? You have these blues that are just going to clunk up those draws. So when you added some of those blue slots as 0-cost blue go-agains, like Barrage and Beatdown or Smashback, it was a way to just get them out of hand so you could launch into the Blood Rush Bella. So it's a slot to cost curve you've always wanted in the deck, right? But now, when that slot is the Call to the Grave, you're not really burning a card from hand when you play the Blood Rush turn. You're burning the card to search Beast Within to replace that card with a 6. You are literally trading a non-6 in hand for a 6 in hand, guaranteed 6 in hand, because it's the Beast Within trigger, right? So you're literally trading a non-6 for a 6. You're just trading it, and you're turning off Blood Debt, which is going to turn on Graveling Growls, which is going to turn on Diabolic Offering, which is going to turn on Deep Rooted Evil. Like what the fuck? That's insane. That's insane. And so then you can launch into your 5-card hand without being interrupted by the fact that you drew like 2 non-6s, right? Oh my god, that is so powerful. And like, so the lines that you can do with this card are just pretty unbelievable. From the recursion early game stuff, from like the flexibility of like when you play Beast Within, um, to the fact that like maybe just Graveyard is what you need, and so because you're just playing it for Graveyard and like trying to uh, and like instantly banishing it away, then you can like maybe flexibly pull something that you want to banish for consumed later. Like you get to make all these choices, and you can also get cutesy with it because it does work with Back Alley Breakline, I think is the name of the card. So you can probably get away with running like 1 blue Back Alley Breakline. Just one. It's 1 blue in your deck. Anytime you see it, it's probably a card you're going to pitch away. Whatever. But it allows flexibility then by having this 1-of copy in your list. You can trade Call to the Grave in hand for an action point. You can just play this card, and it's an action point. And you filled your graveyard with 2 cards. It's so good. It's so good. Anyway, I am like over the moon with this card. I really never thought they would print this because I forget when it was said to me. It might have been said to me in person. It might have been said in like that old Levia article on FabTCG. It might have been said during the like the deck tech with Jason Chung, who's like one of the lead Levia devs. Like I forget specifically where it was said, but I've had it in my head that LSS was under the impression that Shadow of Lazafet was like really good, like potentially way too good, because Shadow of Lazafet was a tutor. It was a tutor to specifically get a recursion piece out of your deck, and like that's strong, right? That's crazy. It's got these restrictions on it, on top of the fact that it's a red 2-cost non-block, which is like the least flexible thing in the game. It has all these negatives to it because the payoff is supposedly like so broken, right? But if you've actually sat down and played Levia, the moment you put any faith into Shadow of Lazafet, it is the worst card in your deck. Truly. You have to have it in your deck and just assume, yeah, most of the time this card doesn't do shit. It doesn't do anything. But then sometimes it works and you're like, oh, wow, okay, actually pretty good card. But it was a good card off the back of having Artivore in your deck as well to try to help you shape, those later game hands where Shadow Blast was terrible, or like you needed to make sure that Blood Debt was already off before playing Shadow Blast, because if you missed on that, then like game was over, whatever, like all these things. And now you don't have to play that card. Now, if you want recursion, which is busted, like recursion is so good in Levia, it's like gaining intellect, right? Now you don't have to run Shadow Blast with it. Oh my god. Our prayers were answered, people. Our prayers were answered. You now add 3 of to the deck in a slot that you already had to fill with the 0 cost Go Again Blue. You already had to fill that slot. And now you get to do it with a card that is like doing things for Levia no one ever thought would happen in this game. Oh my lord. It is really incredible, folks. So with that, I've successfully filled time for my walk towards the hotel. Thank you all for tuning in. But I also wanted to put it all in a video so that when the just endless amount of people come up to me in person, so why is that Levi card good? Oh my god. I'll just point you to this video so I don't have to explain it 50 times over because I think most people who don't play Leviah like don't understand. They look at that effect and they're like, okay, you grab beast with it. Like, okay, whatever, dude. Like, Runeblade's so good. Runeblade's, what are you doing? You're grabbing beast then? Whatever, Runeblade's good. It's got my attention. Man, screw those people. If you're not like thinking about the lines this card enables, about the agency it gives you to play this goddamn amazing hero that like was still missing this kind of card. Whew, it's so good. It's so good. So anyway, that's it, folks. Hopefully you're enjoying the world premiere wherever you are. Well, I'll be bringing you the streams, of course, not on my channel, but if you see anything on the FabTCG, that is me behind the keyboard, behind the cameras. So with that, yeah, thank you for tuning in. I don't know how to end the stream on my phone. I I don't see an end stream button. I'm just gonna click the X and we'll see what happens. Bye bye.